starting fives in the Wildcats going in the backcourt with Torrance and Grace. Both have made an impact so far in the series. Their forwards, Vlahoff and Fisher, and Crawford will start on the centre.
For the Giants, Mark Leader, what a tremendous series he's had, averaging 21 points. Rob Johnson been a little bit quiet. Maley has been missing. They'll be looking for a big return from Paul Maley. Reese, the danger man, really their main scorer, and Reedy, ever dangerous.
And the two benches then. The Wildcats bench haven't scored in the series so far. They'll be looking for more from Watterson and Davis in particular. And Catalini, expect to see him play some minutes this afternoon.
Well, Larry Senstock and Pearce are the big guns out there for the back five for the Giants. They are the most experienced players. We're all set to tip off in the decider.
Referees Peter Lucas, Mal Cooper and Ray Hunt. They officiated in the second game of the series. And before a capacity house at the entertainment centre, it's the Wildcats with first possession, and the place is buzzing, John.
Well, there's no doubt that everybody realises how important this is. They saw the Wildcats in overtime resurrect what could have been a disaster for them, and they're out here to see their club do well. Reedy on the break, pulls up, finds Maley, little pump fake out to the right. Johnson once more being selective. There's a very important shot for Maley. He's a confidence player, and that confidence has been missing so far this series.
So one possession each, and we still haven't got a score. Stakes are high. Ricky Grace lost the handle on it. It comes out to the lead of the veteran, 33 years of age. He's got Johnson in the corner and he backs away, and the Giants prepared to set up now. Reese, a match winner in game one and a big player in game two. Finished that game with 37 points. And what a series leader is having. Now Pat Reedy to the corner and Johnson, shot clock to 12. So North Melbourne showing patience. Reese fires away, doesn't go, and it's a catch ball from the side.
Well, it's almost a carbon copy, Peter, of game two here on Friday night. This afternoon, both clubs have gone down, had scoring opportunities, and they've both missed them early. Let's hope that they both warm to the task, but at the moment, we can see the match-ups. North Melbourne in their familiar 2-3 zone, and the Wildcats have been in man-to-man when they've been down the floor.
Here's Torrance, low post to Crawford. Torrance left open, goes to the foul line. He went looking for Grace. Second time leader with a steal. He's got two to beat. Grace comes back and wins possession for the Wildcats. Big outlet pass now to Fisher. Fisher from the line, gets the roll and draws the foul.
That's an extremely important play phase for both clubs. Leader on the break, really lost control of the dribble. He's not noted as a good point guard, and you saw why out there as he was harassed by Torrance, who made the mistake in the pass, and Grace, who recovered. But at the other end, they needed, the Wildcats that is, needed to punish that mistake, and they have been able to do it.
A minute and a half, Mike, and both sides just taking their time in terms of filling each other out. They'd be fairly nervous, I would think.
Yeah, all the elbows will be a little bit tight at this stage, Peter, that's for sure. And I think the fact that it's only 3 points scored so far proves that. And this is going to be a great match.
How important is the start here, John, given that North Melbourne have fought back? We've got a long bomb from Johnson.
And they've done it well, Peter. There's no doubt that they're a class act. We've made mentions throughout this series how they are much, much better than their 13-13 regular season record, and much better than an 8th position. But the Wildcats that time down the floor, they also went to a zone, so you can see this could develop into a rather dour struggle as both clubs will punish mistakes.
Third turnover against the Wildcats now. Leader goes inside to Reese, 37 points. He opens his scoring this afternoon off the glass, and the Giants have taken the early lead. 5 plays 3.
You'll see a lot more of that. The ball will go inside, I would think, to Reese as often as possible.
Here's Fisher starting well.
Good start.
As the entire Wildcat score.
Good start from Fisher. More importantly, against the zone, Fisher came from the foul line on the high post position and found the ball underneath. There was good penetration. That's a good sign from the Wildcats. 5 points apiece. Reedy rather fortuitously back to Johnson. It came off the glass at the top. We've got Reese. Well, that was an ambitious pass, chopped off by Grace. He went looking for Torrance off the foot of Johnson. It's a catch ball, and they'll get a new shot clock. See, so far, Michael, I think there's been about 5 or 6 deflections from players, and that certainly indicates desperation.
That's for sure. Ricky Grace read that last pass from Jason Reese. He telegraphed it. It was a long pass for a bounce pass. He needed to flick it in on a straight pass, I think.
Tied up at 5 apiece. Fisher having a great start. He's got 7, and the Cats a 2-point lead.
We watched Fisher in the pre-game warm-up trying to drop kick the ball from in the bleachers. It must have worked for him because he's open with a flourish.
Well, he prefers those closer range shots, John. He was up in this grandstand when he was taking a few shots for the crowd pre-game. He loves to entertain, Scott Fisher, and he's doing that at the moment. The Wildcats up by 2, 7 plays 5, and now leader from long range. Too much on that. It lobs in the arms of Torrance, and he's fouled by Johnson coming from behind.
Little nervous foul from Rod Johnson coming from the weak side there. Torrance had got possession. He was really looking to quit it instead of pushing the ball down the floor. Good start from the Wildcats. 7 plays 5. They're shooting at 75% from the field. Excellent, and of course all of that is attributable on the scoreline to Fisher, who has 7. For the Giants, they have 5, and they're shooting at 40%.
Rod Johnson with the only 2 personal fouls committed in the game. Here's Crawford, jumper from this range, normally very good, just a touch too much on that. Maley on the break, the big fella on the dribble, pulls up. Now to Reedy, and the crowd chanting defence. An 8,000 capacity crowd at the Entertainment Centre for this all-deciding game, and we've got a call against the Giants.
Well, that's excellent baseline defence there. Reedy had the ball low on the baseline, looked to reverse, went through, picks it up, shuffles the feet, and is called for the travel.
The Cats with another possession. Blahoff was double-teamed. Another foul against leader, I fancy.
That low on the baseline body. Scott Fisher's pumped up tonight, Michael.
He certainly is, and it's good to see. I think, as we mentioned before the telecast, John, he looked a little more relaxed, and that's something that was missing from his game before. And it's funny that the Giants are now getting close to the extra fouls, because it was certainly the opposite way in the first 2 games.
Well, I made mention in the opener, Peter, that I believe this is the first true home game the Wildcats have had in this series, and they certainly look more relaxed.
And if they win tonight, they equal a club record of 14 consecutive winning games at home. There's Maley, who's been quiet for the series, and he lands a big 3-pointer.
Well, the bench of the Giants rose to a man, and Maley, who's been under a cloud scoring-wise, a guy who's averaged 24th the season, really has struggled somewhat so far. He's only averaged about 8 points. That's a big start for him and a very important shot.
And the Giants are a point up, 8 plays 7. Blahoff, the captain, to Grace, who set the crowd alight. And there's a nice move from Ricky Grace, the point guard. He was the player instrumental in turning the game the Wildcats' way in that overtime in game 2.
Oh, took control, absolutely took control, as all point guards should do. Grace has had a good year this year playing in the point guard role, and he took control of the game to great effect on Friday evening.
Here's Reedy, the fake one way, then the other. Crawford with a job on Reedy. Shot clock inside 10. It comes back Reese's way, and Fisher tangling with Reese there.
Well, there was a situation that could have gone either way. They wanted the ball to go inside. Grace slipped from behind and tapped the ball, and the ball came away from leader, and in the melee out there, Fisher had the hands in, and Jason Reese gets the benefit of the call.
Mike, you've got to admire North Melbourne, the way they've played this series so far. They just haven't lied down.
They certainly haven't. They honestly believe they can win this, Peter, and they have to go into the game that way. If they don't go in that way, well, they will certainly lose. But full credit to them. They've just had a great series. Johnson is hit from three-point range already once, not that time, and Torrance. Well, his rebounding's been outstanding in this series, as well as his point production. There's Grace from the foul line, and that was sweet.
There's a confident start from the Wildcats, a confident ring in the execution of the shots. I think Crawford's taken the only tentative shot of the game so far this afternoon.
Maley in then out. Johnson, the offensive board surrounded, somehow found Reese. The turnaround jumper is good.
Good touch, hasn't he? Turns around, with plenty of arc on the ball. Let's see if he can stop Torrance.
Well, he stopped him all right.
That's playoff stuff, let me tell you. The theory
The only thing he didn't have, Mike, was an axe.
He had the baseball bat.
The theory behind that is that nobody in this game will get an easy basket. Torrance had the break. There's no way in the world that anybody will get an uncontested layup in this game.
What about Torrance, John, emerging really as an NBL player in terms of big-time basketball in this series?
Well, he's consolidated a position in the first 5 with the Wildcats after a lot of years. The coaching staff have had confidence in him playing the off-guard role, and in this series so far we saw him with 29 in game 1, a little quieter with 12 points in game 2, but he's been far more confident this year than what he has in previous years.
Wildcats lead it by 2. 12 plays 10. And we've played 6 minutes in the first quarter, and Leader hits 3, and that should see a timeout here. And the Giants have regained a 1-point lead. It's 13 plays 12, 5:55 left in the first quarter.
When it comes to diesel 4x4 one-tonners, the big choice is between Holden Rodeo and Toyota Hilux. But with 24% bigger power and 23% bigger torque, 7% bigger wheelbase, and a big 3-year factory warranty. The big choice has to be Holden Rodeo cab chassis, petrol from $19,990 or diesel from $22,499.
Here comes the D train with the jam ball.
And he has scored a jam ball with an 18-can pack of Coke.
A great move, Steve. Take us through the action.
Well, for you people at home, run to any participating Caltex shop stop, slam down $14.95 and score an 18-can pack of Coke or Diet Coke, a full-size jam ball, and 2 time zone games.
Plus, get a chance to win an NBA Jam video machine worth 10 grand, right, Steve?
Mr. Magic and the D Train.
And back at the Entertainment Centre, midway through the opening quarter, the Giants lead by a point, 13 games to 12 in the third and deciding quarter-final series between these two clubs. We saw in Game 1, John, where North Melbourne survived from outside, and already this afternoon they've taken 7 3-point attempts.
And they've taken them with confidence, and they're shooting with 43% accuracy from the three-point line against the season's average of about 35. We did make mention of their improved shooting percentage in the playoffs, and that's certainly what they're going on with here today.
What about the Giants' outside shooting, Mike? What do you make of that?
Well, Peter, you'll see more of it because in that timeout, Brett Brown said we need to look for Pierce out there. He's just gone on the corner. There's a big 3 from Trevor Torrance. That'll keep his confidence going.
They can get him, so can the Wildcats, John.
Well, keep in mind that both clubs have tended to favour a zone defence at various stages throughout the game. That'll be on Torrance, I would think. And that forces clubs to shoot with confidence from the outside. And at the moment, that's certainly what the Giants are doing. And I've no doubt that the Wildcats will want to shoot more confidently from the outside to win this game.
The Wildcats, of course, led the league in three-point shooting after the regular season, just under 40% on the season, so they can shoot outside.
No doubt about that. They shot, as a matter of fact, 42% on Friday evening from the outside, which was excellent.
Reedy, Crawford got a hand in there, deflected the shot. Torrance now down the other end of the floor. With his team down by 2 points, here's Blahoff baseline. That's his opening score. And what a strong move that was from the captain.
Strong move there. Reese had the baseline, but wasn't prepared to step across and take another foul this early in the game.
Amazing record, these two clubs. They've been to the last 7 playoffs. The only 2 clubs in the NBL to have achieved that. Maley to the foul line, kicks it out to Leader, and he was off before it left his hands virtually, Mike.
He took 3 steps down the court just as it left. He knew that was down.
Well, he's shooting well from the three-point line, Mark Leader, 2 from 3.
The Wildcats up by a point. Blahoff in traffic. He was double-teamed and goes to Grace. Now, the little dish to Fisher, a little bit too quick. And Leader, what a great series the 33-year-old's having. And as is this man, Reese gets his own board back. Second attempt, can't put it away. Torrance comes up with a hectic passage of play, but the Wildcats come up with a stop.
Well, there was contact there, and there's no doubt the North Melbourne bench thought there was too much contact, but I suspect the officials did the right thing and let them play.
Torrance left open. This is for another 3. Well, you can't leave double open. He showed that in Game 1 where he hurt the Giants. A 22-point first half that night. And he started in great style this afternoon with 7 now.
He's shooting very, very well. If you look at his shooting percentage, he's increased. Last year he was at 50%. Throughout the regular season, he's been at 43. In the playoffs, he's been shooting at 54% accuracy.
Wildcats back out to a 4-point lead. Maley for 3. No good, and Torrance drags down another rebound. That's his 4th rebound to start the game. Blahoff from short range for 2, puts it away. And the Wildcats now stretch away to a 6-point lead. That's handy.
Well, there's a lot of very accurate shooting, and the offenses of both clubs are flowing. 75% for the Wildcats, and both clubs are free-flowing right now, Michael.
They certainly are, and that was a great move by Maley. Then Grace came over and got right up. He had to change the shot. He still had the presence of mind to use the board and put it in.
The Wildcats making a substitution, sitting down James Crawford, who hasn't scored. He's none from 2 from the field, and the veteran Steve Davis is back out now for his first run this afternoon. Grace goes inside to Fisher. Normally pretty good from that range. Doesn't get the roll. Put in by Davis or Blahoff.
Blahoff tipped it in. Blahoff came in from the outside with the left-hand tap. Good offensive board work.
6-point spread. Pierce, the Iceman, for 3. Can't get it to go. Senstock, the veteran, steals the ball. Doesn't put it away, and the Wildcats come up now with possession. Outlet pass to Torrance, and he elects not to pull the trigger this time. Now it's with Grace. And we've got a foul off the ball.
Very, very tough action out there. That'll send Wildcats onto the foul line for one-on-one. That's the second personal on Jason Reese. That is the 15th foul for the Giants. 2 to the Wildcats.
Scott Fisher, 3rd in the league from the foul line. One of the talking points this weekend, North Melbourne, John, 2 33-year-olds in their team, and Darryl Pierce, rising 33 later this month. I mean, is that going to play a part, do you feel, if the game goes down to the 4th quarter?
It depends upon the tempo of the game. I've no doubt that the Giants will deny that. But I think if the tempo of the game is fast and furious and the Wildcats push the ball down the floor, that could well tell against the Giants as it gets to the 4th quarter.
Wildcats up by 8. Maley not afraid to have a shot from long range. It's a Giants ball from the side. Mike, you're about 33 yourself. I mean, do you feel that is that a disadvantage for the Giants?
No, never. Fit as a fiddle at that age. Not a problem. No. Sorry, John.
I was going to say, Michael, only if you're playing with them it would be a disadvantage for them.
There's Maley, baseline. Davis coming across. Gets Maley in the back.
Well, Peter, there's an interesting start there for the Giants. Paul Maley, and we have made mention of how he's been missing. He had 1 field basket on Friday evening. He is going to the foul line now. He has 5 points so far. I think from memory he had 1 field bucket and 2 foul shots on Friday evening.
And just 4 points for the game, which would have to be a season low, surely, Mike.
Well, I'd have to say it'll be a season low. And he won't be too happy missing that foul shot. Interestingly enough, guys, obviously North Melbourne see they need Maley to play. Their last 3 plays have been specifically for Maley.
I've no doubt that they have to find him. I believe, Michael, without a doubt, he is the key player for the Giants. If he continues to be down in form, they'll struggle. If they can find some respectability through scoring, they're in this contest.
The Wildcats are sitting down with Ricky Grace, and Eric Watterson has checked in for the first time in this playoff game. Blahoff double team, needs support, goes to Fisher. This is for 2. Defensive board to Maley, who's 1 from 5 from outside. And now the Giants bring it down the floor. Larry Senstock, not the oldest man on the court. Mark Leader holds that honour. Here's Reese. Looked quite a start this game. Now Pierce, what a good series he's had. 16 and 18. He collides with Torrance.
Well, I think the foul will go against Watterson. Ran a little pick and roll play there. Watterson fought his way across the screen, and as Pierce lost control, and this is the difficult part for the officials, he's almost obliged to call something here and give the benefit to the ball carrier. Watterson certainly doesn't agree with that call.
Now Johnson's back out there, and Reese and Leader are sitting down for the Giants. So in the main, the Giants play with a 7-man rotation. And already they've rested a couple of their stars. Now Maley on the dribble against Torrance. Not so strong on the left hand is Maley. The Wildcats have worked him out in that respect. Now Pierce, who goes to the wing. The bounce pass to Senstock. Reedy, the fake around Davis, the dribble and the keyway.
There'll be a pushing foul on Davis. Davis was struggling with this little matchup zone they've got going, and he found Reedy a little late. Reedy with the left hand takes him around, throws the fake, takes him around, gets head and shoulders in front. That's when the foul's being called. You can see Peter Lucas in the background with the hand raised to indicate the foul, and Reedy goes to the foul line.
Now, Michael, in the 2 preceding quarter-final clashes, the Wildcats at some stage during that first quarter got away to a margin like we've got at the present time.
Well, that's right, Peter. In both those games they did that. The only difference, I think, so far is that they were both early in the piece. They've actually built this up over the course of the entire quarter.
There's a minute and a half to run on the first quarter. And it's in the hands of Fisher. It goes to the top and Watterson. The Wildcats bench, amazingly, haven't scored a point in the series so far. They vowed to rectify that this afternoon. Fisher's baseline finds some space but gives up the ball.
Well, good defence from the Giants. They closed off the baseline there. Fisher had nowhere to go. Wildcats a little lucky to come up with this possession.
What great rivalry we've got between these two clubs, and the Giants have called a timeout with 1:11 to play in the opening quarter. It's the Wildcats up by 8 points.
The year is 1916 and Indiana Jones is there. For the first time, an adventure across Europe. The kind of adventure only Indiana Jones could have. 8:30 tonight, Red Rooster presents The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, #2.
Every day's a brand new experience, different every way.
Love those new wedges.
Chicken treat, we got 320 special, different every day. Monday,
Pretty cool for only $3.20.
This is a great deal.
Wednesday,
That's a 320 special.
Thursday and Friday, 320 special, barbecue.
Every day's my day.
For the West Best barbecue, chicken taste, chicken treat, the place. I got the taste.
When it comes to diesel 4x4 one-tonners, the big choice is between Holden Rodeo and Toyota Hilux. But with 24% bigger power and 23% bigger torque, 7% bigger wheelbase, and a big 3-year factory warranty. The big choice has to be Holden Rodeo cab chassis, petrol from $19,990 or diesel from $22,499.
It back.
The Wildcats shooting very well from the field, John.
Yes, they've been at 67%. They've shot very well this whole quarter, and that's been the basis of the, what is it, an 8-point lead they have.
The Grace is back out there. The Wildcats going with Grace, Watterson, Blahoff, Crawford and Davis. Reedy's got possession. Senstock wants it. Here's Johnson to the baseline, and Reedy back to Johnson. He fires for 3. Didn't miss by much. Nearly a strong offensive forward to Reedy. Couldn't control it in the last second. Now Grace down the floor. Grace on the left hand off the glass. Doesn't get it. Davis. Crawford looking to tip it in, and the third attempt, the Wildcats scored 2.
Wildcats bench were very, very pleased with Steve Davis's effort. I'm pleased to see him on the floor myself because I think he can be a key in breaking this zone of the Giants if they get the ball to him around the foul line.
What a good shot that was from Reedy, Mike.
Sweet little fake and a one-dribble jump shot. Very well executed.
16 seconds left in the quarter. The Wildcats looking to have the last play of this opening quarter and to build on an 8-point lead. Watterson to Grace, who has a look up and sees there's 6 seconds left. Grace elects to go alone, ran into a dead end, and it's a travel call, and the Giants have 1.7 seconds. Ironical that time, isn't it?
I knew you'd pick that up. 1.7 was the time they had to win the game on Friday evening.
Well, and they couldn't pull it off then. They haven't pulled it off at the end of the first quarter here. And the Wildcats at the end of the first term lead by 8 points. It's 28-20.
See you later, mate.
See you, Dad. Can I come too?
Sure. When you're older. See you tonight.
Gee, I wish I was big enough to work at WestTrek too.
And I've got that other job to do on the Melbourne sector. Trish, that's the part for Joe, the tractor.
How was your day?
Oh, pretty quiet.
Yeah, well, mine was pretty hectic, actually.
Yeah?
Couldn't believe what happened.
Here's a 320 chicken treat Monday special. Coming your way. Oh, yeah.
Monday's a new chicken and potato wedges, $3.20 special.
Love those new wedges.
Chicken treat. I got the taste. Coming out of the dark.
And quarter time in the third and deciding quarter-final game between the Wildcats and the Giants. Players coming back out on court. The Wildcats are up by 8 points. Scott Fisher leads all scorers with 9. Torrance made a great start with 7. Blahoff 6, while for the Giants, leader scored 6, Maley 5.
In game 2, the scoreline favoured the Wildcats 29-21, so it's pretty much on par. I think the Giants have been kept in the game by virtue of 12 three-point attempts, of which they've made 4. And they need those because they're getting belted on the boards. The Wildcats have 14 rebounds to the Giants' 7.
Now Crawford looking to make a play is fouled by Reese. That's Jason Reese's second personal foul, and here's Mike Ellis.
Yes, thanks, Peter. Both coaches were discussing the baseline, actually. Brett Brown was saying he wants the ball to go into the baseline and then kick it out for the jump shot. He just doesn't want him to shoot from straight away. Adrian Hurley a little concerned when the ball does go down to the baseline that the guys are getting trapped down there a little bit, so he wants to make sure it gets there and then they get some movement off that fairly rapidly.
Now we've got James Crawford at the line. We should point out, in fact, that was Jason Reese's third personal foul.
That's a critical time to get your third foul with the second quarter just barely starting. Of course, they've only got 6, and after that they take no more part. But if you consider the impact on scoring and rebounding that Reese has had, that'll be critical for the Giants.
The Wildcats lead it by 10 then, 30-20. And now Pierce goes to Senstock to Reedy, and the Giants love this rotation. Here's Leader. Shot clock to 9 now. In the corner is Pierce. Takes a step, now goes to Leader at the top. Put a lot of arc on that and miss. So the Giants looking to survive from outside so far in this game. Here's Grace. Goes to the safety first measure, and Crawford at the top.
He was looking for somebody on the right-hand side of the court, but they were missing. Of course, Crawford was trailing after getting the rebound.
Crawford went looking for Vlahoff. The pass was chopped up. So a good stop by North Melbourne, and now they have a chance to peg back this 10-point deficit. Pierce goes inside to Senstock, forced back out. Pierce for 3, and that was from downtown, and Pierce is having a wonderful series.
Super series so far. Shooting-wise, if you give Darryl Pierce enough space and enough time, he'll nail it more often than not.
Here's Torrance. Grace goes to Crawford. The floating jumper off the glass is good.
Excellent shot. Had time with the great athleticism that he possesses to find the space, line it up with the glass and get the 2-pointer.
Now Pierce on the dribble, goes to the corner. Played just under 2 minutes in the second quarter, and Reedy forced back out. So the Wildcats defense has been good. Reedy gets the friendly roll.
Well, that's a tough shot from Reedy there. Crawford did a good job defensively. Reedy just faded a little bit and took the jump shot.
And just when you felt, Mike, that the Wildcats were threatening to pull away, the Giants come back again.
That's what they've been doing this whole series, and they just keep on keeping on, don't they?
7-point spread at the present time. Grace. Across court to the captain and Vlahoff. He goes inside to Fisher. Fisher thought about the shot, looking to set something up. Good defense by Reese. He can't get too close. He's on 3. Grace fires for 3 and connects.
Nice patient offense by G. Michael. Whenever Scott Fisher gets the ball, he's absolutely surrounded, isn't he?
He certainly is. They're manning up about 3 guys on him, but that's what he's got to do. He's got to look for that open man and get the ball to the weak side, because that's where they're all coming from.
Wildcats now in man-to-man, matching up with Grace on Leader. Leader taking those 3-pointers, decides to take it downstairs to Reese, who went on the baseline. Nice little reverse spin there from Reese, and of course the Giants bench are screaming for a foul on Fisher.
This is the 4th playoff series that the Giants and the Wildcats have been involved in. Every series has gone to 3 games. Reese, the Giant, on the dribble, couldn't put it away. It's a catch ball from the side. Ray Hunt making the point. It was his call baseline.
Yes, he was in the right position to call it. They were a little unfortunate not to come up with the points. 10-point lead now to the Wildcats. 9 minutes before half-time. Andrew Vlahoff sits down for a well-earned rest. And I like the way they've used their rotations tonight, Michael. They've brought Catalini in this quarter. In the first quarter, they brought Davis in. I think if they can give Vlahoff a few more small rests, they'll be far more effective.
They certainly do. Andrew was tired after game 2, as well as I'm sure everybody else on the floor. But he's the one doing the bulk of the pushing and shoving in there, so if they can get him a quick breather, then that'll be all the better for him at the end of the game.
Here's Grace looking to put up a shot. Pierce getting a hand in there, ably supported by Reedy. The Cats will have to inbound it now. They're up by 10, 35-25. Grace, great vision, went looking for Catalini, the rookie. who missed game 1 through a groin injury, played limited minutes on Friday night, but he's out here nice and early this afternoon. There's the warning buzzer to wait. Fisher went to Crawford. Crawford getting some great height over that jumper.
Oh, gee, I know it's easy to say from the sideline, but when Crawford executes with a snap of the wrist, he's so much more positive with that shot. When he floats a little bit and he's soft with the execution, it's going to miss, but he favours that low baseline position.
Well, Maley missed now. He's 2 from 7 from the field, and the Wildcats can build on a 12-point lead. So early stages in the second quarter, but North wouldn't want this lead to get out too far.
We've seen so often North Melbourne Giants capitalise upon concentration losses by the Wildcats. This is a very critical time. Brown must call a timeout soon. He can't let this keep going.
I think he's called one right now. Brett Brown worried with his team down by 15 points in quarter 2 of this quarter-final game. The Wildcats are up 40, plays 25.
His dream was to build an empire. He would become the world's largest media baron. Rebecca Gilling, Peter Tapano and John Bark as The Paperman. Part 1, 11:15 tonight on Golden West Television.
Here comes the D train with a jam ball.
And he has scored a jam ball with an 18-can pack of Coke.
Our great move, Steve. Take us through the action.
Well, for you people at home, run to any participating Caltex shop stop, slam down $14.95 and score an 18-can pack of Coke or Diet Coke, a full-size jam ball, and 2 time zone games.
Plus, get a chance to win an NBA Jam video machine worth 10 grand, right, Steve?
Mr. Magic and the D Train.
The Black Knights are on the quest for the treasure at the Dragon Castle. But they must fight the Dragon Knight, the magic wizard, and his secret weapon. Only 2. No, only one gets to the treasure. Help! The dragon!
The incredible Brick Eater. New from Lego System.
In celebration of the International Year of Indigenous People, Coco Youth Theatre presents
the internationally acclaimed Honey Spot by Jack Davis.
Albany Town Hall Theatre.
Fresh while it is wise and fun while it is serious.
This clever, subtle and dramatically inspiring play brings together children, music and dance to celebrate Aboriginal culture.
Tickets available, Albany Town Theatre box office, October 13th to 22nd. Honey Spot, proudly sponsored by Healthway for the Heart Foundation.
Be smoke free.
And just over 8 minutes to play before half-time. Danger signs for the Giants now, with the Wildcats up by 15 points. 40 to 25. Mike, the Wildcats would be fairly happy with this situation.
Extremely happy at this stage. Obviously, what they wouldn't want to do is let this lead slip again like they have in the past, as we've mentioned many times. I believe Mark Leader summed it up the best when he walked off the court pointing to his temple as if to say, guys, let's start thinking about what we're doing out here.
They go inside. Therese, who was double-teamed, and the big fella draws a foul. Scott Fisher now arguing the toss, but he can't reverse that call.
Well, it was called from the baseline. What Fisher is saying is that it should have been on Grace. That's when the call is made. You can clearly see that Fisher has reacted to the whistle. So the call was made before the contact came from Grace, and that's Scott Fisher's second personal foul.
Now Maley to Leader inside to Reese. They're double-teaming Reese in the keyway this afternoon. And how do they see that, John?
Well, it's going to be a foul call here. We'll see if we can pick it up for you.
Not on this man, is it, Reese? If it is, it's his fourth.
I think so. He's at 44. I suspect it's Maley. Maley across the top. 2-4 was the call over the top of Catalini.
The Cats there, 15 points up. 7.5 minutes in the first half remaining. The Giants now, who have responded so well in this series, faced with a mini crisis. They go inside to Catalini. The short jumper doesn't go. Crawford gets it back, and he gets the Wildcats out to a 17-point lead.
That's a good rebound from the Wildcats. I will watch now, Michael, with interest to see if the Wildcats have learnt the lessons of playoff. If they can build and show the character to maintain this lead, then I think they should carry this game away. Now, it's a long way before the final whistle, but it's the thing they've done so poorly throughout the year is protect the lead.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. You can't afford to go negative. You've got to keep doing the same things that got you that lead originally. For the Giants, they're going to have to be a little smarter with their offense.
Crawford missed. defensive board to Maley. The Wildcats generally are dominating the rebounding department, 19-8 so far. These are the two best rebounding teams in the league. Maley makes space in the corner. Reese not having the best of afternoon so far. Pierce goes to leader. They need this to drop, and it does.
Oh, gee, so often he's answered the call. 3 from 5 from the three-point line. He has 9 points. He's shooting at 60% overall, and actually our stats show that all of his points have come from beyond the three-point arc. That's a captain's game out there from leader by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, some great rivalry between these two teams. Mike set up through the semi-final series from 88 down to 1990. All went to 3 games.
Yes, we've had some great series against the Giants and a lot of rivalry there, but, you know, some of it not so good, some okay, but it's just been a great series all the way through.
Bishop from the foul line does the lap, then drops. So things starting to work out for the Wildcats.
That is right, Peter. I'd just like to make mention of the fact that for the first time in this series, we've seen the Giants go away from that 2-3 zone that has serviced them so well for any length of time. They're in a man-to-man posture now, and that means that sometimes, oh, Brown's almost on the court, screaming for a foul there that should have been called when Reedy took the play. It's a judgment call, and as so often happens, insult to injury at the other end of the court. Wildcats go through, and the Giants get the foul. Brown is incensed.
Here's Grace on the drive, and the Wildcats have raced away now to an 18-point lead, and Brown is pointing the finger at the referee, do you mind? He's not happy at all with that last non-call on Pat Reedy. Hands on hips, and he had the finger at Peter Lucas.
Yes, there's no doubt that the whole Giants bench were claiming.
And now Mal Cooper, John's got across to try and pacify Brett Brown.
That's a smart move by Cooper. He's an affable official and is always approachable by the coaches and the players. He's gone over and positioned himself very closely to the Giants bench and just tried to defuse that situation.
Well, Mike, you had a baseline view of that last non-call. How did you read it?
Well, you know, Reedy went to the basket hard. Grace came underneath. They're a bit concerned that they might have caught him under the arm on his layup because the layup did fall short, you know, but hey, those calls happen.
And a timeout called by Adrian Hurley. 5:28 left in the half. His team are up by 18 points. It's 46-28.
Tuesday, a young woman obsessed by a man she hardly knows, but then police say she became the victim of a violent act and the brutal slaying of a taxi driver.
Just very callous.
Help a young wife find justice. Ford presents Australia's Most Wanted.
G'day, Steve.
G'day, Jono.
Good to see you today.
I was in the area. I thought I might drop in for a coffee.
No worries.
How you been keeping?
Good.
The Wildcats are in town for some kids' clinics. Thought we might invite them over to have a look at a mining operation.
Yeah, great. Young bloke would love that.
Okay, then I'll organise it. Thanks a lot for coming, Andrew. We really appreciate it, mate.
No worries. All right, kids. Let's go and do some slam dunks.
Yeah!
When it comes to diesel 4x4 one-tonners, the big choice is between Holden Rodeo and Toyota Hilux. But with 24% bigger power and 23% bigger torque, 7% bigger wheelbase, and a big 3-year factory warranty. The big choice has to be Holden Rodeo cab chassis, petrol from $19,990 or diesel from $22,499.
5.5 minutes to go in the first half, and it's the Wildcats leading by that margin of 18 points, 46-28. Quickly checking some scorers as we see Ricky Grace penetrating the Giants defense. Grace to 12 points now. Fisher has 11, Crawford 10, while for North Melbourne leader with 9. And then it's a little bit low after that.
They still have, what, 6 scorers? Well, the Wildcats have got 5, but they're just that much lower, aren't they, as far as points production?
Well, the Wildcats had the barrel pointed at them during the last quarter of that second game, Mike, as we see Reese from long range not connecting. I think the barrel's now firmly in the Wildcats' head.
Well, at the moment, both barrels are loaded too at this stage, Peter, and the pressure is right back on the Giants.
Vlahoff, supreme second effort, leading by example out there, and John, it's a 20-point spread.
Well, that's the thing the Wildcats want to do. They want to go back to their game plan, and they want to make sure their defense holds, but they don't want to come out and throw caution to the wind. There's a long, long way to go in this game, and it can be turned around very quickly. As you can see, the Giants trying to get the boards, but nothing's going their way at this point. Wildcats are now 24 rebounds to 9.
And that's a telling fact, a story in itself. And there's another story. Ricky Grace, what a wonderful season he's had running the point for the Wildcats. He's already led the club to 2 championships, and I fancy a call against Maley.
Yeah, and this is the danger for the North Melbourne team. They've been hiding behind, not hiding behind, but utilising a 2-3 zone so effectively throughout the year. But you can see on that replay, they've now gone to a man-to-man matchup situation, and the Wildcats, man-on-man, usually are able to penetrate, put the ball to the floor a little better than what they are. That also puts them into the 4th team foul situation. So with, what, 4.5 minutes to go.
Oh, great athleticism from Catalini. He's the first Wildcats bench player to score in the quarterfinal series. What quick hands he had then.
Yeah, great athleticism, and they'd be happy, and they need him to come out and help with their rotation. And it wasn't unusual to see the Wildcat bench very happy with that effort.
I think Martin was pretty happy himself, Mike.
Certainly was. He's got some long arms and a great jump. He just picked that up and took it up strongly, and that's good for the confidence of the young man.
Michael, Catalini's absence has just upset the substitution rotation for the Wildcats, and I have made mention of how I've thought that Andrew Blahoff's been overplayed somewhat. Catalini's injury has forced the Wildcats to do that, but with Catalini back, they're able to rest their starters and give them regular stops.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you after a big tip from Fisher there. You know, before they just had Davis to come in there and relieve them. Now they've got Davis and Catalini, and Catalini's someone that the Giants don't know very much about either.
A 22-point lead. Reedy's got it now. Johnson for 3. In fact, it was 2. Put on the line. So back to 20 then. 52 plays 32. And North Melbourne now very much playing for their season. They can't let this lead get out any bigger, John, before half-time.
Well, we've seen the Wildcats spread away some big leads out there, but they are certainly playing with intensity. And as they start to operate, it puts all the pressure on the Giants. And you see it once more. Reese just couldn't contain Fisher. Fisher stopped, propped, and then went through the 2 defenders with a little finger roll, and he got the foul call.
So Scott Fisher kept to just 2 points in the second half of game 1. Found his touch again. He was happy, Mike, with his performance on Friday night here. Finished with, what, 24 points for memory. But he seems like he's a man on a mission this afternoon against his former club.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Peter. You know, if you watch that game on Friday night, to be honest, it didn't really look like Fish got 24. It was a quiet 24 by his standards, so he's certainly looking to go for it, and he's being very animated today.
He's the high scorer so far in this match, and if he gets that, he moves to 15.
Yes, I think we sometimes fall into the trap of looking at the point score and not looking at the other factors of the game out there. Fisher statistically has been down on shooting percentage, but the rest of his game's been on par with the season's average. And I guess sometimes it's difficult, Peter, for people like that to lift demonstrably in a playoff when they do it week in, week out.
There's not that scope, is it? A man that averages 27, 28 during the season, there's not much error or margin for them to go beyond that. Now with Senstock to leader, the captain for the Giants, and they need something special from him now with the team down by 22. Reedy is going well in the second quarter. 3 fakes, went inside looking for leader. The pass was chopped off by Grace, who gets it back again now. The Wildcats looking ominous at the present time. No look pass to Crawford. Hits the front end of the rim and bounces away. And now Reedy is playing strongly. The bounce pass to Reese, who got there in time, and eventually it's put away by Senstock.
There were 3 Giants there on that offensive board. Reese, who took the shot, Senstock, and Reedy, who made contributions. Still a 20-point lead in favour of the Wildcats, just over 2 minutes before half-time.
The all-time record between these clubs in playoff games favours North Melbourne 6-5. Bounce pass from Fisher to Grace. Fisher, a rubber Grace looking to penetrate, made some space, darted through there, and it's back out to 22 points now, 56-34, Grace to 14.
Well, there's no doubt that Grace is having a picnic out there with penetration. He's just got too many quicks for Johnson, and there's very little help defense coming over from the Giants. And as we made mention, they're in man-to-man, so they're just a little bit more isolated. They haven't got the help of the...
oh, gee, Reedy threw it away.
And it goes bad, doesn't it?
I think he may have wanted to call then, Mike, and Adrian Hurley has called a timeout. With 1:45 left in the half, his team up by 22 points. It's 56 to North Melbourne's 34. Well, that's really synonymous with how North Melbourne have played in this Well, particularly second quarter, John, with
Yes,
Reedy throwing the ball away like that.
Yeah, the wheels have fallen off just a little bit. They had 20 at quarter time. They've only put 14 points on the board, and they've been tentative. And it's happened so often, and I know we harp on it just a little bit, but the momentum and the confidence has slipped away, and catch up is difficult. The team, the Wildcats that is, they've grown in confidence, and everything they are doing seems to be falling in place. Their shooting percentage is fine. The Giants are well down. The Giants have been shooting, as on a playoff, they've been shooting something like 45%. They're struggling to put the ball in the hole. Turnovers, Wildcats still in good shape. 7, they'd be happy with that. Giants are protecting the ball well. They're just not able to score as frequently as they would like. And 56 points for the Wildcats, a lot of points to give up in a half.
The Wildcats shooting very well from the foul line. They're one of the best in the league. 56-34, 22-point margin. Wildcats way. What does Brett Brown do to try and get his team back in the game?
Well, the thing he can't do is have them panic.
There's our score line. 1 minute and 3/4 left in the half. Adrian Hurley must be delighted with the start. I understand, Mike, that Adrian Hurley actually offered Brett Brown a timeout there to try and break the momentum. I mean, that's very sporting.
Yeah, what a guy, eh? That's for sure. Adrian Hurley was quite happy, as you can imagine, at the moment. What he wants is he wants the guys to make sure they get a good shot each time down the floor. Don't go negative, but make sure we take a good shot, because we don't want them getting off to the races and getting some fast breaks to level the score down a bit.
Well, there's no doubt that both coaches are going to have to work from contrasting sides. Brown in desperation, he's going to work for the obvious situation to try and redress the deficit. But I think Hurley's going to have to work just as hard to keep the Wildcats concentrating out here. It is so hard with a 22-point lead to concentrate and be desperate, as if every play meant the difference between winning or losing. But that's what the Wildcats have to do. Now, James Crawford called for the foul, and that's the other thing, Peter, that can happen in a game with a 22-point margin. Suddenly the officials can pick things to call that previously they haven't been calling.
Watterson sitting down. The Wildcats going with Grace, Crawford, Torrance, Vlahoff and Fisher. The Giants have this man, the ball carrier leader, Senstock, Johnson, Reese and Maley. To the top and Senstock now. Jason Reese, who hit 37 on Friday night. No good without attempt, and he has just 4 so far tonight. And that is a telling point this afternoon, in fact.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Jason Reese, if we look at Friday night at half-time, he had 20 points.
So that's a big minus for the Giants then. Grace, great pass to Vlahoff through the keyway. Well, he did that on Friday night.
Well, that's as athletic as he wants to get. He was forced to reverse away from the defense and put it in. But at the same time, the Giants now really need to chip away at this, and I believe they're going away from their game plan. Jason Reese has taken his last 3 shots from range, including that one, even though he was favoured by the call. That's not what's going to get them back into the game, Michael. I think they've got to go inside. That's where their strength is.
I'd have to agree. That's where Reese got the majority of his points on Friday night. So they've just got to keep going in there, and they're, you know, at a stage where they could get blown out quite easily here. They need to not rush their shots, take their time, get it inside. When the double down, then you can hit the outside Jay.
We made the point on Friday night that Jason Reese is a big man, looked a bit tired at certain stages. You just wonder how he could come up as quick as he has to for this game this afternoon. Well, he looks a bit ragged now, John, in fact.
He does, and of course he's frustrated, and the game's not going his way. And the Giants now are trying to extend their defense a little bit. But one of the indicators, Peter, of a player getting tired and frustrated is that he will go away from the things that he does best. He'll go away and out further from the basket in Reese's situation and take shots he shouldn't take.
Okay, so we're counting down to half-time. The shot clock doesn't count here. There's the time remaining in the half. And the Wildcats are looking to have the last play, are they? Now here's Fisher. Fisher on the drive. Doesn't get it to go. Vlahoff is stripped of the ball. The Wildcats will get it back again with 4.1 seconds left in the half.
Well, 4.1 was almost the period that they had when Ricky Grace took that long 3-pointer there in extra time.
Grace, the man we're talking about, can't put it away. There's the buzzer. Half-time at the entertainment centre. The players will head for the locker room. And it's the half being dominated by the Wildcats. They lead by 22 points. 58 plays 36.
Gradually, it's dawning.
The realization that there is only one genuine and original glyphosate. Only one guaranteed effective. Only one backed by a national network of experts. It's Roundup by Monsanto. Increased yields, more nourishing feed, a better environment, sustainable agriculture. Nothing delivers it all with more confidence or cost effectiveness than Roundup. Because there really is nothing like it. Guaranteed.
I wasn't going to tell my friends I don't feel like riding because I'm constipated. They'd say, take a pill, take a laxative and hope it doesn't hit me real sudden. Then one simple idea gave me my freedom. Daily fibre therapy with Metamucil. Metamucil is fibre, natural soluble fibre, not a harsh chemical laxative. It's a way to give my body the extra fibre it needs every day to get regular and stay regular.
Metamucil every day, the natural way to stay regular.
Help! We've been robbed!
Stop! Stop, evildoers!
Introducing super stretching superhero Stretch Armstrong. Yes, Stretch Armstrong. Now stretching fun farther than ever before. He bends, he stretches, even ties and knots, but always returns to his original shape.
How's he do that?
He's been doing that since he was a kid.
Stretch Armstrong from Kids Beds.
Attention everywhere. Join the hunt for the Purple Meanie, who is coating other Smarties in purple. Just match the prizes inside Smarties packs and send with an entry form. You will win. Repeat, you will win. Either a swerving Nerf Pro Curveball, a ballistic pocket rocket missile blaster, or the all-soaking, all-saturating Hydro Bazooka. Smarties hunt for the Purple Meanie, keeping Smarties safe throughout the universe. Over.
Now there's a new shining light in Southern Cross, the completely renovated historic Palace Hotel, where you can enjoy a comfortable stay and home-style meals in delightful surroundings. You'll love our warm, friendly service and charming accommodation from $30 a night. So break your journey with an enjoyable stopover at the ideally located Southern Cross Palace Hotel. Ring 090-491555 and make your reservation today.
Let's have a look at some of the statistics for tonight's game. First, we'll start with Scott Fisher, 15 points. Certainly had a much better impact on tonight's game than he has in the past. Especially that first quarter, 9 points. He really got off and he was very animated, and 6 boards to go with that. Let's have a look at Mark Leader for the Giants. Mark Leader is leading all scorers for the Giants with 9 points, doing very well. I think the majority of those are all from the three-point line. He's got 3 assists to go along with that. He's going to need some help out there if the Giants are to get back into this game. Ricky Grace, on the other hand, for the Wildcats, leading by example again. 4 points in the first quarter. He didn't need to score as many because Scott Fisher was going off, but that second quarter he came right into his own with 10 very important points, and he really is controlling the tempo of this game. Pat Reedy, on the other hand, for the Giants, very quiet by his standards, still working very hard on the boards and defensively, but all the Giants are going to have to pick up in this second half, John.
Well, there's no doubt, Michael, that that's the task in front of them. I'm sure Brett Brown will have had all those thoughts and judgments been made at half-time. His club is now trailing by 22, and if he can't wreak a miracle out there, Peter, he's in deep trouble for the rest of the season because there is no more.
Yes, the Giants season on the line now, and it'll require a magnificent comeback to fight back from this position. 22 points down, 58-36. One suspects that perhaps the damage has been done for the Giants. We've had 2 very close matches in the series, and as so often happens, the third game, it's tough. Someone has to crack. We talked about that pre-game, and so far it's North Melbourne. Here's Reedy from long range. That would have been a handy way to start, but it didn't drop, and that's been North Melbourne's game so far. And now it's Grace who brings it down the floor. Ricky Grace, 14 first half points, a wonderful player.
There's no doubt that the Giants have thrown caution to the wind. They're still coming out after half-time as they did just prior to the break in man-to-man. They're matching up. Maley's got the job on Blahoff, not so good.
On the baseline, he knocks it down, the captain, and now it's a 24-point spread, 60-36. And I'm sure Brett Brown, Mike, didn't want that sort of start.
No, not at all. He would much rather have seen that 3 go down, and there's a bit of an ordinary pass from Leader. The defense of the Wildcats is very impressive so far. They're really putting a lot of pressure inside.
Reese, who's double teamed, spinning, gets free and gets the roll. So that might start the ball rolling for Jason Reese.
Well, he has to see a lot more of those things. He was double teamed. The double team just relaxed a little bit, and as they went around Reese, he rolled to the right hand and came up with the bucket. There's Fisher going on the baseline. Rudy comes out to help. Crawford shovels it back in over the top of the ring. 62 points to the Wildcats. They lead the Giants 38.
Crawford to 12, game 1 went the Giants' way by 4 points. The second game, overtime, Pierce for a big triple. And the Wildcats winning game 2 in overtime in the end by 10 points. And this is threatened to be a blowout, but that 3 from Pierce will help the Giants' cause at 62-41. 21-point ball game. Fisher kicks it out. Torrance, can he respond to Pierce's 3? It doesn't drop, and Reese with the defensive board. He's very slow to get down the floor, the big fella. Here's leader for the Kiwi. Good move that. Gets 2 and draws a foul, so he'll go to the line for the 3-point play.
Andrew Blahoff to come up with a foul. Fouls on 2-1. That's a strong move by leader. Got on that right-hand side, 2-foot takeoff, put it off the glass. Blahoff came across to help. Very important, Michael, at this point that the Wildcats show the character of a minor premier and a team that saw their season flash before them with about 1.5 seconds on Friday evening before the end of regular time, that they really come out now and stamp their authority on the second half as well.
Exactly, John. The only place they should be relaxed is in their shooting. They've got, the presence of mind to be able to do that, but they should certainly be fully working their offenses and defenses the same way they did in that first half.
The Giants have pegged back 4 points their halftime deficit. The pass to Vlahoff, he goes to Crawford, shot clock to 9 now. We've got to travel against the veteran James Crawford.
You know, Peter, sometimes when clubs like North Melbourne have played a zone so often and for such a long time in a game against the Wildcats, suddenly they come out in a man-to-man situation. And whilst the Wildcats should really relish that, they struggle a little bit because they're so used to running different sets against different defensive situations. Takes them a while to get back into the flow.
Here's Fisher on the flow right now to Grace, and that's a magnificent move by the 2 stars. The Wildcats 2 inputs combining there.
That's a super drive and dish to Grace, and the role reverse, Mike.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't see that very often, that's for sure. But Fish leading the break. Sweet little pass to Grace on the for the layup. And Jason Reese very nearly picked up his 4th foul there too.
Maley for 3, and he would be happier with that shot, Paul Maley. He makes his 2nd from outside. And the margin now back to 17. So the Giants, as they've done throughout the series, hanging in there. There's still a chance. Down by 17. Here's Crawford. 1 big step. Gets the foul in the end.
He just decided he'd do a regular layup. There was a bit of traffic that bumped through there. We have been, and in the highlight film at halftime, Crawford went up high above the rim. But that's a good, strong move out there as Crawford takes the ball to the hoop, comes up with a big 2-pointer.
And just when you start to quieten a couple of the Wildcat stars, another one bobs up. Crawford with now going for his 5th point in the quarter, Michael.
Yeah, certainly a good start for James. He'll be happy with that. And more importantly, Peter, I believe that was the 4th foul on Jason Reese.
Yeah, good call, Mike. Reese on the edge with 4. Reedy rimmed out. Boyd to Fisher. He feeds it out to Grace, and the champ can bring it down the floor. 8:40 left in the 3rd quarter. A 20-point spread for the Wildcats. 67-47. North Melbourne with a job to do now. Fisher, he's got Torrance in the corner. Shot clock winds down to 12. The Wildcats have time on their side. They go inside looking for Fisher, but there's the turnover.
Well, they're running their man offenses and they're cutting from the weak side. Just a little bit impatient out there. The real challenge now for the Wildcats is to make sure they execute well.
Leader, who leads the Giants scoring with 12, the oldest man on the court. Now Maley from the corner, just can't buy one, gets his own board back off the glass, still can't put it away. Blahoff working hard. Grace came in to support Blahoff. It's a catch ball from the side, although Darryl Pierce doesn't like the call. Now they may reverse this. The 2 refs conferring, John.
Ray Hunt has come up and reversed it. It's a correctable error. Peter Lucas, from his point of view, has called it one way. Hunt was in a better position to see it. They've come up and conferred. That's the way it should be.
The Giants with the alley-oop pass, and Maley from close range just, well, they say you can't buy a bucket in basketball, and that's the situation with the mailman.
That's the way he is at the moment, Lo. You would think with such an imbalance in scores that just perhaps the pressure would be off him, and I don't think Hurley will be happy with that last little passage of play. And he's called a timeout, Peter, now with 7:47 remaining in the third quarter. He wants to talk it over.
Every day's a brand new experience, different every way.
Love those new wedges.
Chicken treat, we got 320 special, different every day. Monday.
Pretty cool for only $3.20.
This is a great deal.
Wednesday.
That's a 320 special.
Thursday and Friday, 320 special. Barbecue.
Every day's my day.
For the West Best barbecue chicken taste, chicken treat the place. I got the taste.
Gradually, it's dawning. The realization that there is only one genuine and original glyphosate. Only one guaranteed effective. Only one backed by a national network of experts. It's Roundup by Monsanto. Increased yields, more nourishing feed, a better environment, sustainable agriculture. Nothing delivers it all with more confidence or cost effectiveness than Roundup. Because there really is nothing like it. Guaranteed.
.47 left in the second half. The Wildcats, the home team, lead it by 20, 67-47. Mike, Adrian Hurley called that timeout. What did he have to say to his players?
Not all that impressed. He's at this stage, Peter. There's a good steal by Blahoff and a foul. But what Hurley is saying is, guys, we've gone completely away from what we were doing in the first half. You know, we need to stay on our game plan. Take the ball inside, take off on the break. You see, everyone's just standing around watching each other. Get out and get back to what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, they're good words of advice, because Hurley knows that this game is a long way from being over just yet, and he wants his club to concentrate on the things that got them this very impressive lead. And of course, on the other situation, the Giants have been in this situation here of desperation all throughout the latter part of the regular season, Peter. They've had to fight game after game to make the playoffs. They're no stranger to this position, so they'll know what to do to get back into the ball game.
There's been survivors on and off the court, financial problems. Apparently the club was suffering late in the year. They've shaken that off, and the players have responded magnificently to get the team firstly to this position, a best of three quarter-final series against the #1 team in the league. And now we've got another turnover, so the Giants are containing the Wildcats at the present time.
And that's the containment that Hurley would be worried about. He wants to build on this lead. He's not happy to sit on this. There's a long way to go yet.
This corresponding game last year, Mike, of course, was the end of the road for the Wildcats. A good block by Blahoff, but he's called for a foul, contact in the arm, according to Mal Cooper. You go back 12 months ago, the Wildcats made it to game 3 in a quarter-final series and were beaten by the Melbourne Tigers, but the big difference is here, the third game on their home court rather than the tennis centre.
It certainly is, and that's why you try and finish up as high on the ladder as you possibly can to try and gain that advantage that you get by doing that. So, you know, it's certainly going the way of the Wildcats at the moment, but still there's a long, long way left yet.
3 clubs in 3 years for Jason Reese.
Yes, he's been a bit of a journeyman. He's a prolific scorer. There is some doubt as to his value to a complete team effort, but there's no doubting his ability to score. And that last play phase was excellent. Blahoff fronted Reese, tried to stop the inbounds pass, but it was an excellent pass out there from Senstock on the lead, and Reese did the rest.
So it's to within 18 now for the Giants. Eric Watterson's out there. Torrance is sitting down. Grace off the ball. We've got Maley getting tangled up with Blahoff, and they've called Maley.
Maley is absolutely up in arms, but I've got to tell you, folks, the first and second and third foul were let go by Ray Hunt, which is fine, but then it just started to come out, and then there's the reaction from Blahoff. The foul was called before that reaction. That's Maley's 4th foul.
So the Giants have 2 sitting on 4 now, Mike. Reese and Maley, and that could tell a story in the final quarter.
Certainly will, that's for sure. And that's, you know, a little bit of frustration on Marley. You know, Maley, I believe. He's just, you know, putting a lot of pressure, as much pressure he could on Vlahoff, just showing him a little bit too much attention.
Maley 8 points and 8 rebounds, but he's just 3 from 12 from the field. Here's Fisher, wants to take on Reese. He's fouled, or is there a travel? The Giants are calling for a travel, and they get that call.
Ray Hunt had eye contact with Lucas. Lucas was ready to call the foul. Hunt clearly signalled that the travel had occurred first.
The Giants then can reduce this deficit of 18 with another possession. We've counted down to 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. There's Maley. What a big reject by Vlahoff.
Oh, Maley is chasing Vlahoff and went for a trip. The officials will have to watch this. Maley ain't going to see much longer in this game if it continues at this emotional stage.
Well, there were a few that questioned Maley's ability with a cane to the hard grind. Now it's with Crawford, who's double-teamed, doesn't get the roll, looking to put it back in. He gets his own ball back and he draws a foul. And I think the game needed a whistle just there.
Well, there's no doubt about that. There was a couple of spiteful incidences starting to occur, but you can see the frustration coming in now, and I don't think it's going to get any easier underneath the bucket. James Crawford knows that. He was prepared to go up, take the lumps to get the points.
Martin Catalini checks back in the game as we await James Crawford from the foul line. Sitting down, Scott Fisher. Well, Maley and Vlahoff, interesting duel, Michael.
Well, I'd say Vlahoff made a bit of a statement down the other end there. He certainly came from a long way to block that shot. Maley not all that impressed with it and had a few words to say to him on the way down the floor.
And as you quite rightly pointed out, John, Maley was happy to try and connect with Vlahoff's feet as they were going down the floor, and that's no need for that.
A little frustration from Maley. You can feel for him. He's one of the imports for the Giants, and he's had a very unhappy series so far. He's matching up against Vlahoff. Now, this is the way Maley should answer it. Well,
he hits for 3, Paul Maley, and takes his total to 11. And we've got a timeout, John, with just on 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. It's the Wildcats leading by 17 points, 69-52.
Monday.
I'm lucky to come back.
Carol and Roderick go for the lot.
It's one of the classic nail-biters. It's been terrific.
It's been a dream come true for him.
All the cars, cash and prizes.
Join Georgie Parker and myself on sale.
Australia's Richest Quiz, 3:30 Monday.
It's back, the farmer's favourite, Suzuki's TF125 Ag Bike. Rugged, reliable, economical with everything you need in a workhorse. Crash bars, a big rack, dual stands, front brake and clutch locks, and the power and handling to get the job done comfortably. Or if 4 wheels are your style, there's Suzuki's range of farm quads like this all-conquering all-wheel drive, a powerful 250, or the price-busting LTF 160. When you need a farm bike, you need a Suzuki.
The Southern District Stud Stock Association annual Merino Studs Field Day will be on Thursday, October the 7th from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. See soft handling white wool sheep for and suited to local conditions at these studs: Mason Downs, Brickhouse, San Mateo, Monteverde, East Carigna, Bellandry, Calgan Downs, Muri Creek, Lindsay and Mono. Upcoming association sales to note as well are the annual Merino sale and the annual British and Australasian Breeds Ram sale.
Halfway through the third quarter, the Giants have pegged that halftime deficit of 22 points back to 17. And we've got a game within a game, the duel between Vlahoff and Maley, both sharing the spoils in a couple of play phases.
Well, there's the contact after the swat. Here's Maley's shot, and you saw the screen just at the top of the key there laid on James Crawford. That was a fairly tough screen out there, but Vlahoff, captain of the Wildcats, he's been there before. Maley, his reputation's on the line. They're not going to back off.
17 points, Mike. You've got to hand it to the Giants. They've shown that quality of persistence throughout the series. Evident again this afternoon.
Certainly is. That's a good pass from Crawford into Vlahoff. But they just keep working at it, Peter. They just keep chipping away, and that's what they've got to do. They can't expect to get it back in 5 minutes.
Well, James Crawford coming over again, showing frustration, reaching across the top. That's the second offensive foul he's been called by going for the rebound. And if you look at the Giants out there now, the next 3 or 4 points are critical for them. They've had a defensive stop. If they can get a 3-pointer here or a foul situation, Pearce nails this, they're back within a situation where they can do something with it.
Well, very nearly went in for Darryl Pearce, rimmed out in the 2 games so far in the quarterfinal series. 16 and 18 for Pearce. Leader, who's been wonderful this afternoon with 12. Now he fires for 2, foot on the line, and that drops. He moves to 14, and now it's a 15-point ball game. Scott Fisher checks back in the game, and probably not a bad move from Adrian Hurley, sitting down his captain, Andrew Vlahoff.
Well, he wants to give him a rest. Fisher didn't have much of a rest himself. We've got Watterson, Catalini, Fisher, Grayson, Crawford for the Wildcats, and it's a very important 5 that the Giants have on the floor with Senstock and Pearce with all their experience. Leader, Maley.
Off the ball, John, something that Ray Hunt's seen baseline.
Leader. Now, I think you may find this, Peter. You can find that the officials now will start to take control of this ball game, because there's no doubt in my mind that Brett Brown's team is going to come out and they're going to fight for everything that goes on. You can see there in the overhead shot, Leader is stopping the movement to the baseline by Crawford.
Physical off the ball so far in this quarter, Mike, and I guess North Melbourne have got to try and do something to upset the Wildcats.
Well, they've got to do that, Peter. They've got to get at them. The only thing Leader did wrong there was he stuck his hands in to hold Crawford. He had to use his body. I think he would have got away with that one.
Crawford 9 points alone in the third quarter for 19 in the match. He's the high man so far, and it's a 71-54 point ball game. There's Pearce for 3. We've got another whistle.
This will be on Senstock. We did make mention earlier when we watched Maley's three-pointer how there were a couple of tough illegal screens being set, and Senstock, whilst not agreeing with it, he's the one that's going to wear the foul. That's his second foul. He set the pick on Watterson, who was trying to get to the shooter.
And they're giving Ricky Grace a rest now. The point guard sitting down. Torrance is back out on the floor, and it's Watterson who's at the top now. He goes to Crawford. 4:50 left in the third quarter. Catalini shot didn't connect, but he's drawn a foul, and he'll go to the foul line, the rookie.
Catalini came across the screen on the elbow, went down low, got the ball, turned around and looked for the shot. Jason Reese came up with a foul on the elbow. That's his 5th foul, of course. He only has 1 to go. Immediate reaction from Brett Brown. Reese will sit down, and Paul Reese will come in for his first moments of this match. Had about 2 minutes on Friday night, scored a couple of points. Very experienced campaigner, played with Brisbane last year.
Catalini gets the first, and Mike, this man is a very, very promising player. Turns 20 tomorrow.
Yes, he certainly is, and he's come and made an impression in this game already. I wouldn't believe that Reese expected him to sort of get up as high as he did on that jump shot. That's why he caught him on the forearm with the foul, and that's a great sign for the Wildcats.
The Wildcats stem the tide. They get it back out to a 19-point lead. Maley to Pearce. They need him to lift. They cross-court to Leader. Leader went looking for Pearce. Watterson or Catalini getting a hand in there, so the Giants will get the ball back on the side.
Nice zone defense put up by the Wildcats at the moment. That's enabling them to force the Giants to the outside and able also to cut off some of those passes.
Pearce off the glass.
There's a good rebound.
We've got a couple of youngsters, Catalini and Rees, tangle up on the rebound, and Mal Cooper calls for a jump.
Catalini giving away a good 5 centimetres, a couple of inches to Rees, but made possession, kept his hand on the ball. Good call, jump ball.
Catalini, an amazing story, Johnny. He's played basketball only for a couple of years. A late starter, around 16 years of age. He started taking the sport seriously, and now he finds himself in the NBL. Here's Senstock, a man at the other end of the scale. Leader through the key way and gets the roll, and Leader moves to 16 points now.
Leader has done that so well all night, that penetrating right-hand drive.
17-point spread. There's Torrance, and Torrance, a 3-second violation in the keyway.
Crawford was open, and really the ball should have gone in a little earlier. Torrance didn't quite pick it up, and Crawford stayed there for longer than the mandatory 3 seconds, and the Wildcats have copped up possession. Crawford sits down for a rest. Vlahoff comes in. James Crawford has 19 points and 12 rebounds.
A bit like a football game, Mike. They drag you when you make a mistake.
Yes, that's right. Looks that way, doesn't it? I tell you, as a player, that's always hurts. You'd like to go up after scoring a basket.
Here's Leader, and deserved the friendly roll. Didn't get it. Watterson and Torrance swoop on it. Watto comes up with it, goes to Catalini, and now the crowd getting involved in this game. North Melbourne coming back. They're down by 17. They're not done with yet. They haven't lied down throughout the series. Expect them to come back. Blahoff baseline, bump Rees. It's a charge against the Wildcats captain.
Well, it's an offensive foul called by Mal Cooper, the referee on the baseline. Very hard to tell from where we're at. We'll see if we can pick it up for you on replay. Well, he's got his right forearm there, and he's dipped the shoulder, and Cooper was in the ideal position to call that contact.
Wildcats finished the minor champions after the regular season, 21-5 on the year, and the past 2 years the title has gone to the team that finished on top after the regular season. Magic last year, the year before the Wildcats. Now leader with 16 points. Where will he go? Threw it straight to Vlahoff, got it back. No, Reddy comes in. Reddy, the turnaround jumper, and that's sweet. And now, John, we've got a 15-point ball game. 73 plays 58.
Well, 15 points was the margin that the Wildcats led by in the fourth quarter on Friday night. In the third quarter as well. Wildcats looking for a timeout call. Watterson almost passed to Ray Hunt.
So with 2:53 left in the third quarter, Wildcats led it by 15. It's 73-58. Well, you've got to hand it to North Melbourne. They're coming back. Leader with 16 points. Maley with 11. Jason Rees is a problem, though, for the Giants, sitting down with 5 personal fouls. He's going to be hard to cover.
Well, there's no doubt that he will come back in the fourth quarter, and then they will let him operate at what he does best. But in many ways, the Giants have operated a little more effectively with Rees on the bench. They've been able to spread the ball around. I think the main problem for the Wildcats is the fact that they were 58 at halftime. They're 73 at this point. They've struggled a little bit, and the Giants at the other end, without Rees take that early shot, they've had to be a little more patient with their offense.
Has it been a case of the Wildcats looking to shut down the Giants and perhaps rest a little bit on the lead and maybe play at safety first? Has that been the tactics of the Wildcats?
I think what has happened is that maybe they've had a little rush of adrenaline when they've had that 22-point lead at halftime. They've come back and they've looked to get the points too quickly, too easily, and those points aren't there in an easy fashion. Therefore, they've taken the shot a little bit earlier, and I think they've also had far more turnovers.
Less than 3 minutes to run in the third quarter. 73-58. Adrian Hurley, he's got some thinking to do now.
Well, he's got to have his club concentrate. 2 minutes 53 before three-quarter time. He wants a score in this possession, and he doesn't want anything out of the ordinary to go the Giants' way.
Here's our super snoop, Mike Ellis. Mike, what's the story from the sideline?
Well, Adrian Hurley, as you guys just talked about, obviously wants to score this time down the floor. He's a bit concerned on the one-on-one play of the Wildcats at the moment. He said, let's start working together as a team, guys. We've sort of gone away from it a little bit.
Here's Catalini, the youngster. Great jumper that. Martin Catalini goes to 6. That has been sadly missing so far in the quarter-final series. An impact off the bench, and Catalini has given the Wildcats that this afternoon. 75-58, 17 points. It's a Wildcats ball.
Leader's down with an ankle injury.
That is going to be big trouble
that is big trouble. He was isolating on the right-hand side there, Michael. He was taking Eric Watterson in a one-on-one situation. That looks like a reasonable twist. Normally they'd get him up and have him walking on it at this point. They'll be obliged, I'd imagine, well, certainly with the attention now, they have to take him out of the game and make a sub. Still 2 minutes 19 before three-quarter time. It'll take some time to get him back, and he doesn't look all that flash at the moment. Well, it might just, they can keep it warm and tape it up a little more.
And that is a body blow. The Giants losing their captain and their most senior player, Mark Litter, who to that point of time had scored 16 of the Giants' 58 points, and he looks in agony, Michael.
He doesn't look too well, that's for sure. He's got the Peter Harcourt, the team physiotherapist, is there having a look at it at the moment, and we'll just find out what's going on shortly.
So the Giants now have to overcome adversity. Jason Rees on 5 fouls, Maley on 4, Leader on the bench with an ankle injury. What can they produce? Blahoff to the top and Watterson. Watterson goes to the foul line and Fisher the fadeaway. That was a tough shot. Catalini couldn't put it away, and the mailman comes up with a rebound.
Johnson back on the floor for the first time for a long time out there now. Maley with the ball, Blahoff matching up with Maley.
And now there's a set play. Johnson, hand on the head. What play is that, John?
Well, it's a little set play to send Darryl Pearce over the top of a screen on the top of the key. Here's Reedy for the key way off the glass, doesn't go. And it's a Wildcats ball. In fact, two refs. One's pointed one way and the other way. Now, who will control that? Well, Ray Hunt's the lead referee on the baseline. He will prevail. It'll be a Giants ball. Am I seeing things, though? No, you didn't see things. Okay. That often happens. It often happens. Reedy. Now Johnson to the wing. 1:17 left in the third quarter. Maley from the corner doesn't go. They scrap hard. Now that's definitely a Wildcats ball for the side. They both agree with your call that time round. Now the rookie's getting down. He'll get a big reception from the crowd. Catalini sits down as we check the condition of Mark Leader, Mike.
Well, he's just walked around trying to shake it off a little bit. He's in a little bit of pain for sure, and it'll hurt, but I have no doubt that he will go back out and take some more part in this game. Darryl Pearce's foul. That should send Blahoff to the foul line. Blahoff's been grimacing a little bit with his left hand. Looks like he's jammed a finger somewhat. Might be his right hand just down low. Might be a corresponding mark on Paul Maley somewhere there. Had a couple of hand problems in the second half of the season, Andrew Blahoff. What's he done tonight, John? 12 points, 5 rebounds. He's 100% from the line. He's very effective at his field percentage. Oh, yes, much, much better, 67%. He's been 100% for the playoff series from the foul line, Peter. You can't do any better than that, can you, Mike? No, that's for sure. He's been shooting very, very well from the foul line. His hand problem, he's got a ligament problem in his little pinky. So just give you the medical reports here. That's a big, big three from Reedy, gentlemen, to bring it back to 16, 77 to 61. 46 seconds left in the third quarter. The Wildcats, of course, led by as many as 22 at halftime. So the Giants, despite their problems, have pegged back the deficit. They should get the ball back again for the last possession of the quarter. Shot clock to 9 now through the hands of Fisher. So with 30.4 seconds left in the quarter, what, North Melbourne one play here? One play, yes. They've got the time on their side. They will have plenty of time. They should play it down. I'd look for Reedy or Maley or Pearce to take this last shot. Down to 16 seconds, then inside, Rees to Johnson, who goes to the foul line. Reedy, the fake around Crawford, goes back inside. Rees off the glass, can't put it away. Well, wrong man, had the ball. There's still 6.6 seconds on the game clock, which corresponded with the shot clock. Paul Rees got the ball then, took the shot just a little bit early, thought he was running out of time. The frustration sent him to the foul, and that'll send that long, long walk for Andrew Blahoff, 90-odd feet, to try and preserve his 100% record in the playoffs from the foul line. And, Mike, that's very much a 4-point play if Blahoff converts here. That's for sure. Good defensive effort. Trevor Torrance rotated down well as well on that to help Blahoff out. Good, strong board, and now he reaps the rewards of that. What about his season as captain, John? His first ever. He was very happy to lead the team to a playoff win on Friday night. Well, I think he's had a great season. I have made mention several times that I think, now there's a great defensive effort too, and that's a foul on Maley. It's frustration. That's 5. It's an intentional foul. And, you know, that's the same frustration that gets to a high-strung player. Maybe the head wasn't meshing with the body at that point there. You could see he was upset at losing possession, and he will send Trevor Torrance to the foul line. 2.6 seconds remaining, and more importantly, it will give, I would think, the Wildcats another possession. Yep, Torrance will go to the foul line. The Wildcats will come up with the ball, John, and you wonder, Mike, have the wheels fallen off North Melbourne? Well, that was purely a reflex action by Maley. I mean, he didn't intentionally look to trip Trevor, but what happens is he stretched out for the ball, couldn't reach it. All he found was a leg. I don't think Ray Hunt had any choice but to call an intentional in that. Torrance gets one. The Wildcats will have the last possession now. They've got the lead out to 19, and we've got, what, 2.6 seconds. Yeah. How critical was that last play, Faith? The foul by Rees down there sent Blahoff this way. The intentional by Maley. The turnaround by Blahoff doesn't drop. Well, it's three-quarter time. The Wildcats turn for home, 19 points up, 80 plays 61.
everything you need. Bunbury Forum, there's much more to see.
This week at the Bunbury Forum, Michael Wolfe and the Black String Puppet Theatre present the age-old fairy tale Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Don't miss the daily shows from Tuesday to Saturday at the Bunbury Forum.
Bunbury Forum, the centre of the Southwest.
On the roundabout at the gateway to the city, Bunbury Forum, the centre of the Southwest.
Well, a moment of truth now for the North Melbourne Giants as we prepare to start the last quarter. They're down by 19 points. Their season on the line. Wildcats 80, the Giants 61. Two players for the Giants on 5 personal fouls. Brett Brown realises the situation. Mark Leader injured his ankle and hasn't returned. And the Giants will have to rewrite the record book if they are to win it from here.
Leader's walking over there at the moment. That's a good sign. It depends upon the score and how close they get. The Giants were 10 points down at three-quarter time in game 2. Came back to level at 92 all at three-quarter times, but 19, I think, Peter, would have to be a record ask.
And here's Crawford making a 21-point deficit now.
That's the second layup scoop shot he's made.
Well, it looks hard for North Melbourne. Michael, what about the coaches at three-quarter time?
Well, the very first thing Brett Brown said is, guys, we've got absolutely nothing to lose. Let's just go all out for it. And that's all the choices they've got. Adrian Hurley, on the other hand, says now is the time to be positive and aggressive. We want to push the ball, which we saw Grace do that last time, and Crawford reap the rewards by getting a layup. He needs to push the ball and go at them both offensively and defensively.
Any chance Leader will return?
I just had a talk to Leader on the sideline here, who's over talking to me, and he said he reckons he's got ankles like mine, but I don't know whether that's a compliment or an insult. I'll take it as an insult. And he said he will certainly be back on the floor momentarily.
Well, they need him right now too, because he has been like a rock throughout this series. They're missing his leadership, his cool head, and also his scoring impact.
It's in the hands of Torrance. Fisher has a look, doesn't put up the shot. Crawford to the top, back to Torrance. Now Fisher, 10-second warning sounds. Crawford from the baseline, gets it back again. Wildcats dominating Crawford with the jam. And, well, it's going to be hard for North Melbourne. The Wildcats are just dominating the rebounding department.
They're kicking the Giants on the boards out there. They've got something like 42 rebounds to 19. And I think that the North Melbourne Giants are really going to struggle, particularly with people like Reese taking shots like that. That's going to be a foul on Vlahoff, which is as soft as they get, I should imagine, but the referee was in a position to call it.
Number 4 against Andrew Vlahoff.
That's what you get when you start sticking those little fingers in there.
Yeah, he had good position. It was just the hand that went through there, Mike. And, of course, you would think, Michael, that at this point of the game, that whoever is being defended by Jason Reese or Maley will see a lot of the ball. You'd imagine they'll have the offense going at them.
Yes, they'd have to do that. That's obviously what they want to do. If they can get either of those two or both off the floor, then I'd have to say that the prayers for the Giants are pretty well gone.
Back to 20, then the lead to the Wildcats. 10-20 left in the game. 84 plays 64. Grace is double teamed. Vlahoff now, back to Grace, inside to Crawford. Crawford stripped of the ball, there's no call, but it's a Wildcats possession from the side.
Crawford appealing for the foul, but the ball came off Pearce as it went through. Giants staying with their zone.
There's the Giants captain, the leader, and we've got another big bomb and a timeout called by Brett Brown. Early going in the final quarter, 10-14 left in the game, and the Wildcats out to a 22-point lead. It's 86-64. Well, the Wildcats with the answers to start this last quarter.
They're back to the halftime lead that was so convincing, and they've done it between quarters, particularly from the rebounding situation. They've shot very well at 53%. Brown has nothing to lose now, I guess, Peter. He may well come out and extend the defense a little bit, gamble a little bit more. His club doesn't have any team fouls this quarter as yet. They can't afford to gamble. He's got a couple of timeouts.
And Scott Fisher, John, interesting, making his first points of the second half.
Yes, he went quiet in the third quarter, and he's been a little bit spasmodic as he's come out there, sporadic with his shots as well.
But what about that story?
foul. That is the story of the game. I mean, there are two situations in this game that have been very good for the Wildcats and detrimental to the Giants. One has been the enormous imbalance on the rebounds, and the other one has been that the Giants have struggled to get shots away. I mean, I think you were talking to me earlier before the game and saying that the Giants were very, very good at getting shots off. They've only taken 64.
Well, the Giants in the regular season put up more shots than any other team in the league, Mike. In fact, they averaged 8 shots more per game than the Wildcats. And if you go back to game 2, they put up more shots than the Giants. Well, that is, the Giants put up more shots than the Wildcats.
The Giants are not shy at pulling the trigger, that's for sure. And, you know, Brett Brown's saying now, guys, we've got to go at it. They want to try and get the ball going offensively. He wants that one extra pass in offense. He said we're just sort of shortening our offensive play at the moment.
Johnson, that was for 2 foot on the line. Torrance the rebound. What about the number of shots North Melbourne have taken from outside tonight or this afternoon? As Grace gets the roll, draws the foul. He'll go to the charity strike for the extra point. But North Melbourne, 27 attempts at 3 points.
Yeah, they've taken 61 or 62 shots. Now, on that replay, we've got to make comment of the fact that Ricky Grace went through on the ball, got tremendous acceleration in his left hand. Maley having a couple of words with Mal Cooper of Tutars, but it's not going to help the fact that he's got 6. He's getting the royal wave here, and it's a little bit of irony, Peter, if you remember, that in game 1 at the Glass House on Wednesday, Scott Fisher, who was a 6 times MVP winner for the North Melbourne club, he got the royal wave a little bit later in the game than this one, but Maley sits down and Reese comes in. But returning to the point you made, out of their 64 shots for the game, 27 have come from the 3-point line, while the Wildcats have only taken 6 3-pointers out of a total of 89 field shots.
25 points, Mike. The Wildcats can start planning, I would think, for a semi-final showdown with the Brisbane Bullets next weekend.
Well, it's just about all over bar the shouting, but I tell you, if that man there gets off, he can certainly narrow this gap, and they wouldn't want to get it too much closer than this with about 5 minutes to go.
22 points, the margin. Torrance in, then out. They contest the ball on the floor, and it's Johnson who comes up with it. The Giants, their season on the line. 9:23 left in the game. They're down by 22. Reese, with a big move, gets another 2 to bring it back to 20. 89-69. Both sides making subs now.
A couple of subs made with Watterson coming on for Torrance. I suspect that's because they'll want Watterson to control the ball movement just a little bit more from the point. They'll send Ricky Grace to the off-guard role, give him a little bit more freedom underneath, and the Giants will come out with a little more effort on this defense, trying to shut them down. There's a 4-point gap. If you miss a shot at one end, oh, that's going to be a travel. Caused by the wrong man dribbling the ball. Ricky Grace recognised that instantly, was right up there, and Jason Reese couldn't get the ball down quick enough.
Well, in case Ray Hunt missed it, Ricky Grace was there. The only thing he didn't have, Mike, was a whistle, Grace.
Yeah, he was calling it, wasn't he? He was certainly doing that.
Here's Crawford, thought about the pass over the head, now goes to the top, and Fisher. 21 seconds on this shot clock, and Grace from the corner lets it go early. Doesn't connect. 89-69. Inside the last 9 minutes.
Dillon, first 2 points of the game. Rookie on the court out there. The Giants are not done with yet. I'd imagine you'll see Reedy come in fairly soon as well.
First 2 games of this series taken to the wire.
Ooh, it's close to a walk.
Now Fisher working against Pierce. Here's Grace on the dribble, on the left hand, throws it up, and he connects. What a marvellous player he is, Ricky Grace.
Well, he's very good in these situations, and he's equally as good in the tough situations like the extra period on Friday night, where he absolutely took control of the ball game, scored 10 points in that extra period.
Mark Leader's back out there for North Melbourne, the Giants captain. There's Adrian Hurley, his first season with the Wildcats. Saw the team collect the minor championship, and now he's through to the last 4. Well, not quite, but I think with 8 minutes to go, it'll take a massive turnaround for North Melbourne to get up here.
Well, they're 20 points behind, and there's some 30-odd points, 32 points down on their season's average points production-wise. And in talking about their lack of points, Michael, you must pay tribute to the Wildcats' defence, which has been tremendous tonight.
They've done a great job defensively. They doubled down. They've certainly slowed Reese down, because he was the one that was hurting them badly in the first 2 games. And they've done a great job all round on that. But you know, the way these guys score, fellas, you know, they can gobble that lead up very, very quickly.
No doubt about that.
Here's Watterson with the extended defence by the Giants. He was able to shake that off. Got it to Fisher. It goes back to Grace. And now the Wildcats will be looking to milk each shot clock. Inside. Now Davis from the foul line. So another bench player on the score sheet.
That's the position that you put money in the bank with Steve Davis. And I think if they can put the ball into him, particularly with Jason Reese in the 5-foul situation,
and Davis, I think, will be called for a block against Reese. Now, the Wildcats have got 8 points from their bench in this match.
Well, it's a lot more than what they've got in the last
8 more, yeah.
But in terms of experience now, Jason Reese sits down. Now, this is an interesting situation. 7.5 minutes to go. Jason Reese sits down, and Senstock comes in. Chris Carroll comes in from Watterson. Still a long time to go. 22 points the margin to the Wildcats out there, but the Giants have lost one of their major scorers with Reese, and certainly one of their touted scorers in Maley.
Senstock to 4, making an impact immediately. 93-73, 7-12 left in the fourth quarter. Here's Fisher looking for a reverse layup, and there's a call against Rees, the block on Fisher, and Fisher
won't go to the foul line, but he was forced out there on the baseline. He was looking for the little reverse layup, Pete. You can see him coming through. You'll see the contact here forces him. Oh, it was forced him into an error, but either way, well,
non-shooting foul.
Is that the fourth foul? According to our deal.
They called the non-shooting foul anyway. Now it's with Davis. Davis pumped up. Now a goaltend call. No, says Mal Cooper. Ricky Grace wants to referee again, Mike.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of that tonight, isn't he?
Oh, well.
Very animated out there. I think Ricky's just hoping for anything he can get hold of at the moment. And that was a great drive by Steve Davis. Good to see him taking it aggressively to the hole.
And more importantly, I think, Michael, the replay shows that Mal Cooper was right. The ball was on the way out.
Well, Steve Davis, John, as we turns 32 next Thursday. Davis, been a wonderful player over the years in a role.
Yes, role player, and has played that role very well. At times had varying degrees of success that tend to go in hand with opportunity.
Here's Pierce. Where will he go? Back to Senstock. Now Leader. So a couple of 33-year-olds getting involved there. Grace comes up with the ball. So a defensive stop by the Wildcats, and the champ brings it down the floor with his team up by 21 points. Time of major problem now for the Giants. We've got a timeout, or...
There's a timeout call from the floor, and it was called in desperation by Ricky Grace because he was suffering the ignominy of a 5-second tie-up, so he immediately called a timeout.
When the land is your life and not just a job, when you wouldn't change what you do, despite the hardships, for anything, then you give it the best you can. That's why now it really is time for Ivermec. Tried and true over the years, it really does the job like no other. Nothing works like Ivermec. Nothing ever will.
So call into SBS Rural IAMA for simply better service.
This Small Business Report is brought to you by my business partner.
If you're running a business that does not depend on your personal exertion, then almost certainly your business should be a company to take advantage of the 33% tax rate. Try and leave the profits in the company, because if you take them out via salary or dividend and you're on the top tax rate, you'll be paying an extra 16 cents in the dollar tax. Although you have less cash in your pocket to spend on luxuries, retained earnings are the best way to build a business.
Yellow Pages, your business partner.
Harvey World Travel, the travel professionals. Harvey World Travel.
Harvey World Travel and Sun Lover Holidays gives you the perfect excuse to get away and enjoy life. Book now and get 5 fabulous nights at the Gold Coast from $647. Or disappear to tropical Cairns for 5 nights from $603. This is a limited offer, so book with Harvey World Travel today.
Harvey World Travel, the travel professionals for you.
The strength in fiberglass is Albany Fiberglass. Fiberglass tanks for water or chemical storage, insulated boxes, fish ponds, a range of body panels for 4-wheel drives, and general fiberglass repairs. You name it, they offer it. using only food-grade resin for safe drinking water. Albany Fiberglass are also equipped to sell and service all types of windmills. Albany Fiberglass, ready to serve you.
Brett Brown tell his troops, John.
Well, it's pride time now. I mean, you're looking at the wind down of a marvellous season for Brett Brown, and a season full of overcoming adversity for his club. I mean, he's got to go out and make sure his club thinks that there's still a chance. And, you know, there is still a chance. It's a long, long time. We've seen on Friday night the Wildcats lead by 12, 15 points, and the game evened up at full time. I don't suggest that will happen this afternoon, but by the same token, Brown's in there with a chance.
Here's Grace. One way, then the other. The little lead pass to Crawford. It comes to Davis, who can't put it away, but Fisher swoops on it, and the Cats will get another shot clock.
The difference, of course, Peter, is that this afternoon those chances are not going the Giants' way. They need a little bit of luck, and that's what I mean. It's not going their way as Chris Carroll pitches the ball from Senstock.
At the other end, we've got Reedy. Now Johnson, Senstock. Flat-looking shot, doesn't go, and Crawford with the defensive board. So checking that score, great steal from Carroll down the other end, 96-73, 23-point margin Wildcats way inside the last 6 minutes, and we've got a foul against Senstock.
Well, it had to be with Senstock. Ray Hunt allowed 2-3 efforts of contact out there, but Senstock kept at it, as he must, and of course he's given up the foul. That, gee, I don't know whether our semaphore board is right or wrong. That's the fifth one as far as I'm concerned, and it should have sent the Wildcats to the foul line for a one-on-one.
Lahoff, who's back in the game with Crawford sitting down. Now Adrian Hurley this afternoon with the luxury of just rotating his players. They've got a big series now in the semi-finals. Here's Grace for three, and that'll set the crowd alight. Exciting player Ricky Grace, 24 points, exemplary from outside, 3 from 4, and the Wildcats to a 26-point lead, but Reedy gets a couple back the other end.
Great shot by Reedy there. And
that was a three, John, was it for Reedy?
Yep, he's come in for the last couple of minutes of the game.
What a good assist from Grace then, and Mike, he's an impact player, Ricky Grace. He stole the show. The overtime was Ricky Grace's showtime in game 2.
Certainly was. He just came out to play in that overtime, and it needed some, you know, the Wildcats needed someone like Ricky to step up and take control of it and take it by the scruff of the neck. He did that, and he's certainly done it. There's Reedy with another 3. He's starting to fill it up from outside.
Couple in a row for Pat Reedy.
I was surprised that Reedy sat on the bench for so long this quarter, Mike. I thought he was one of the keys to them recovering.
Well, I'd agree. You know, he's got the ability to both go inside and outside, and he does a good job hustling on defence. So, you know, maybe he was just feeling the length of time that he's been playing in this series, John.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, you know, so often you can see a great series just deflate a little bit as the air has gone out of the ball for the Giants. I think they are suffering just a little bit because of this third game, and we have made mention of the fact that this is the first true game in the series that the Wildcats have been at home and not on the road.
Here's Baker, a rookie, from short range for 2, it goes down. So Adrian Hurley, one suspects Phil's, he's got this game in the keeping now, 103-79 with 3 bench players, including Jamie Baker, and he becomes the 4th Wildcats bench player on the score sheet. So that's promising as Reese puts away 2 from close range. 103-81, 21 points, Wildcats way. They led by 22 at halftime. Baker's got the ball again. First year in the NBL. Grace controls it well on the left hand off the glass. Far too good Ricky Grace in those situations. Brett Brown.
Ryan Knight.
Hands on hips, John.
Yep, and I guess this is really a white flag. No disrespect to Knights, who's seen very, very few minutes, but the veteran Larry Senstock sits down with 4 minutes remaining before the expiry of his season, and who knows just where he'll be next year after such a marvellous record in what has been, 367 games he's played in the NBL.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple in the Giants roster that would be perhaps a bit concerned about their position, I would think.
Well, I think this is the time of the year that people start to think about those things, and you never know what the ramifications are. Knights with the shot.
Missed everything. Watterson read it well, cleaned up, goes to Davis. The Wildcats putting on a bit of a show at the moment. Here's Carroll on the drape. The layup is good, and that's very promising to see the Wildcats bench put some points on the board.
Davis leading the break there, John. Dribbling to the point, dribbling to the foul line, and dishing off for Carroll for the layup.
Well, points are coming freely at the moment.
Well, there's no doubt that the Wildcats are making a statement here. With their starting five resting, they are leading comprehensively 21 points over the Giants. And Michael, it's just a little sad, but it's the nature of the game. The Giants are a much better team than this 21-point deficit shows, but they are showing, and the Wildcats are doing it, that they are outclassed tonight.
Definitely, and there's Catalini again with another big score. He has really been, I would suggest, the guy that the Wildcats really severely missed in Melbourne in game one.
Sure.
But, you know, full credit to the Giants. They have just done a fantastic job, and we would have to say that fitness probably played a big part in this game.
Yep.
And, you know, the thing is, when you're tired, if you're down by so much, it just takes all your effort to get up to even close to the score, and it just takes, you know, everything out of you. When the game's close, you can find those extra legs, but when you're down by so much, it just makes it very, very hard.
Well, Reese from the line, John gets the first part. Adrian Hurley with his 5 bench players out there now.
Sure. He's rested his starters, and Jason Reese is one of the lone leading scorers out there for the Giants. But I think the point that to be made here is the fact that the Wildcats are one of the fittest teams in the league. They have shown that here at this stage. And when you've got such a cushion and you're keeping the Giants, who've averaged about 103 points per match, down to 88, it says volumes for your defence.
Davis throws up the shot, it connects. 19 points now for the Wildcats bench in this match.
Well, that's the other thing, Peter, that when you're on a roll, as the Wildcats are, there's no pressure. Normally in a pressure game, that shot you wouldn't expect to go in, but Davis, a little bit off balance, threw it up, came off the glass. Everything's running their way.
And the bench players were under some pressure going to this game. Eric Watterson vowed yesterday that we will put some points on the board, and they've come good.
Well, they have. There's no doubt about that.
111 to 88. 12, that's 23 points. The margin, Wildcats way. Another whistle. Chris Carroll and Darryl Pearce very close, and Carroll just asked to step away a little bit.
Carroll can't come over the plane of the line. Just a little bit enthusiastic there. And, of course, if he persisted, it would be a technical foul.
The Giants, for them, their season about to end. It was do or die for one of these two teams. Only one could go through to the last 4. Watterson, he's got some work to do on the backcourt, but controls it well. Big outlet pass, gathered in well by Baker. Baker low post, getting a hand in there was Knights, and it's a Wildcats ball from the side.
Wildcats just got the ball over the halfway in time, otherwise it would have been a 10-second violation.
Watterson, the only Wildcat playing on the score sheet on the drive, couldn't put it away.
You're going to remind him of that vow, aren't you, if he doesn't score?
2 minutes left, and there's a good shot by Rod Johnson. Well, it's an 18-point spread, 111 to 93. So we're down to the final 4 now, and it's the top 4 after the regular season. Watterson goes for 3, just missed, and it comes up to Reedy. So the final 4 has settled with the top 4 teams, John, making it through to the semi-finals after the regular season.
I guess the seedings and the regular season's results have come true tonight, and we will see a rematch of the Brisbane Wildcats rivalry, and what a great match-up in Melbourne between the Magic and the Melbourne Tigers.
A replay of last year's grand final, and the Melbourne Tigers looking for revenge against Magic Mike in that other semi-final.
Yes, that will be a great series, that's for sure. You know, the Giants, the Tigers winning that game when they were 17 down at three-quarter time some time ago, so the Magic will not be happy about that, and as I said, that'll be a fantastic series.
Baker from the foul line misses. Offensive board to Carroll. Clever pass to Catalini. And he's a fine athlete, Martin Catalini. He goes to 10. The Wildcats to 113.
Well, 18-point lead. Oh, there's some contact out there. Pearce has gone down.
Hurt, John.
Well, Watterson will come up with a foul. There was heavy contact from Carroll. Pearce went around the top Watterson came in from the top. We'll pick it up for you here. Watch, there's the contact. There's completely, well, I'd say incidental. Watterson didn't even know Pearce was there. He certainly didn't help it, and Pearce went down.
Good hip and shoulder, as good as I've seen, Michael.
Mate, the only thing missing was the fence for him to fall into.
The Wildcats surviving, then taken to 3 games by North Melbourne. They're through the last 4. It looked dangerous in game 2. With a minute or 2 to play, they were down by 5, and the game was on the line in the dying seconds. They survived that, took the game to overtime, and they've iced this match well and truly a long way from the end. We've just got over 1 minute to play, and Brett Brown in the last minute has called a timeout. And maybe he's already planning for next year, Michael.
No, he's cancelled that timeout.
No, he's cancelled. Okay, the light was on.
Yep, he thought about it, but well, that's it back over the half. Now, Adrian Hurley won't be all that pleased at the moment. His club's up by 16 points. There's a couple of lack of concentration coming in there, and you know, we've talked about, as everybody has talked about, the bench for the Wildcats. They're on trial out there as much as anybody. They've had a good contribution tonight, but they need to go on with it.
The Giants have got it back to 13, and Watterson
was determined to get that on, wasn't he, Pete?
Watterson is the 10th Wildcat to score in this match. Underneath, we've got Dillon, who puts it away. Well, the Giants, to their credit, have stuck at it, and they've brought it back to 13 points. We've got 34 seconds left in the game. Catalini to Carroll. Carroll across court. Nearly getting a hand in there was Rees. Davis from the foul line. It's short, and the rebound taken by Knight. So I'll play this right out to the end now. Knight throws up the shot. Giants looking to tap it back in. Dillon gets it back. The dish to the corner. Shot from Knights is all net.
Yep, all net.
So, in the record books, John, it's going to show a fairly close game in the end. 11 points at the moment. Counting down, Baker, gentle little 2, and that will be full time. So the Wildcats winning game 3 in the best of 3 quarter-final series against North Melbourne. Going through now to the semi-finals. Let the crowd tell the story for a moment. Wildcats winning in the end by 13 points, 117 to 104. As I've mentioned, the Wildcats will go through now to the semi-finals, where they'll meet Brisbane. Game 1 in that series will be played in Brisbane next Friday night. Marvellous game of basketball. The series had a lot to offer, and I think you'll find the crowd will be acknowledged here with the team coming back on the court. John, this is an interesting situation. The players just acknowledging the crowd's involvement here.
Well, it's something a lot of clubs have recognised over the years. I mean, this crowd here is worth, what, 10, 15 points? There's the owner, Kerry Stokes, as well. He appreciates his club coming back.
Okay, the players heading towards the locker room, and Mike Ellis is about to bail one up for a post-game interview. Mike?
Yes, thanks, Pete. I just swiped Scott Fisher on his way back to the locker room. Obviously fairly relieved, Scott.
Yeah, very relieved, Mike. I don't know, what is that, 4 or 5 straight appearances in the semifinals for that Giants team, and that's been broken today. And you know, God, they put up a great effort. I mean, beating us at their place and then taking us into overtime. I mean, they did a lot more than I think anybody expected from an 8th place team. They got quite a bit to be proud of, but I think we got a bit to be proud of also. You know, we hung in there and really put it together tonight, and couldn't be happier.
Yeah, well, as you said, they did a fantastic job. You guys equal to the task, came back tonight. I thought yourself personally, especially at the start of that first quarter, you really came out pumped up.
Yeah, you know, I struggled a little bit, certainly in the first game. It felt a little bit better about myself the last 2 nights, and felt I did well both offensively and defensively. But you know, we had to be pumped up. We had to create the same emotional commitment we did on Friday night this afternoon.
All right, well, now that you've got that one out of the way, you've got Brisbane Bullets to think about. First game up at Boondall next Friday night.
Yeah, well, that's certainly going to be exciting. They kicked us pretty bad at Boondall, but you know, the last game of the season we played Brisbane, we beat them then, and I feel confident about that. I mean, this certainly is a team that can win it all, but you know, it's one step at a time.
All right, good luck with that, Scott. We'll let you go and have a well-earned rest. Back to you, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Mike. The Scott Fisher fan club gathering around for that interview, and they give Scotty a big roar as he heads to the locker room. The Wildcats have won Game 3. They're through to the semi-finals, beating the Giants this afternoon, 117 to 104.
Judgment Day for Adam.
Well, the jury's coming back in. They've reached a verdict.
What's the outcome?
You've reached a verdict? Yes, Your Honour.
While Morag's evil plan falls into place,
I need time and I need to be careful.
is she about to be caught? Next in Home and Away.
Every day's a brand new experience, different every way.
Love those new wedges.
Chicken treat, we got 320 specials, different every day. Monday,
Pretty cool for only $3.20.
This is a great deal.
Wednesday,
That's a $3.20 special.
Thursday and Friday, 320 specials. Barbecue.
Every day's my day.
For the West Best barbecue chicken taste, chicken treat the place. I got the taste.
When the rains come, thank heavens for Tanks West.
Let's go through the game quarter by quarter. Wildcats led by 8 points at the first change, 28 to 20. Then it got out to 18 by half-time, 58 to 36. It looked tough. In fact, that's a 22-point lead to the Wildcats. Looked tough for the Giants then. 19 points down at three-quarter time. Giants had it all to do in the final quarter, and although it came back to 13, it was a comfortable 13 with the Wildcats running their bench in the last quarter, 117 to 104. So Game 3 going the Wildcats' way. Okay, guys, take us through the match stats.
Well, let's see if we can read the game a little bit for you. The shooting percentage of the Wildcats was well above their season's average, and they'd be very comfortable there. The Giants shot at about what they have been shooting for the season. The foul shooting situation, very good from the Wildcats at 81, but Michael, the foul shots favoured the Wildcats as well. They had 27 foul shots to 17 for the Giants.
Exactly, and as we spoke about earlier on, John, the problem in Game 1 for the Wildcats was the fact that the Giants walked to the foul line and they had 30-odd foul shots in that first to about 20 for the Wildcats, and that was something that Adrian Hurley impressed upon his team. We need to get to the foul line more, and that's what they've done in these past two games, and I believe that's what's got them where they are.
And the other significant factor in this game, without question, would be the three-point percentage. Now, the Giants put up 37 attempts from three-point range. They were reckless in many respects in their shot selection.
Well, they were, but you've got to keep in mind that they built the third game throughout the year on going outside. And they shot very, very well, so they stuck to their game plan. They just didn't convert. They shot poorly from range. But mind you, Peter, 43% from three-point range is not shabby.
It picked up, didn't it, in the second half, particularly with Rudy getting a few late in the game when the pressure was off. Now, the other factor, Mike, let's take you and the rebound department. It again balanced out a little bit more towards the end of the game, but at one stage it was 2-1 virtually Wildcats' way, the rebounds.
It was very much so, and as you see, 48-33, and I think the significant one there, Peter, is the offensive rebounds for the Giants as opposed to the Wildcats, where in Game 2, you know, Reese himself had about 10 offensive boards, so they obviously worked on doing that, keeping him out of there, and they've actually done that, and to their credit.
He had 17 rebounds in Game 2 alone.
Exactly.
I mean, and if you look
kept
at
to
it,
3, John, just quietly.
Yeah, 3 boards. That's, you know, they've just done a great job on defensively cutting him out.
And he looked tired tonight, didn't he?
And Mike, no doubt you'll go for the Wildcats against Brisbane. We've run out of time. That's all we have. The Wildcats have beaten North Melbourne in Game 3 in the quarter-final series. They're through to the last 4. The scoreline in the third and deciding game, 117-104. Good afternoon from the Entertainment Centre.
Our guys are flying, gonna put 'em on the spot. There's no denying that our guys are hot. Setting the court alight, doing it right, making the big shots, keeping the game tight. Our guys are hot. They're coming to get you, ready or not. Our guys are hot. Our guys are hot. Give me
This program proudly brought to you by Chicken Treat.
For a country cop, Tom's had some tough jobs.
Shouldn't you be at school?
But a little fella scared of school.
And for the Perth Wildcats, they are through to the semi-finals of the NBL playoffs after an impressive 13-point win over the North Melbourne Giants at the Entertainment Centre this afternoon. The final score wasn't really a true indication of the Wildcats' dominance, and with winners all over the court, the minor premiers now head for Brisbane full of confidence.
It was basket for basket in the first half of the opening quarter, both sides making some big three-point throws. This one from Trevor Torrance seemed to break the deadlock. Wildcats kicked clear to lead by 8 at the first change. It was the second quarter when the home side bolted clear.
Fires for 3 and connects.
With the Wildcats winning the rebounds and the Giants running into foul trouble, North Melbourne were forced to gamble with the long shots. Not many found their mark. They were rattled as Perth stretched their lead out to 22 by half-time. Ricky Grace had 14 points for the half, made it 16 early in the third quarter. While they outscored the Wildcats in this term, the situation was actually deteriorating for the Giants. Skipper Mark Leader went down with an ankle injury, and their stars Paul Maley and Jason Reese were up to 5 fouls each.
That's a foul on Maley.
Wildcats turned for home 19 points up. James Crawford made sure of their semi-final spot early in the last quarter.
Wildcats dominating Crawford.
Knowing they had the game in their keeping, the Wildcats took their feet off the accelerator and at one stage had their entire bench on the court, scoring almost at will.
Davis throws up the shot, it connects.
The final score, 117 to 104, flattered the Giants. The Wildcats now head to Brisbane to meet the Bullets next Friday night in the first of the semi-finals. Chris Young, 7 Nightly News.
And Australia has finished